Okay. All right. So this is Scorpio's reading. So, hey Scorpio, I was looking through the archives and I didn't see your reading. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I don't know how I missed Scorpio. So here I am to do your reading, okay? So if you ever pop in and wonder, what house I'm in, whose reading it is, this deck here will show what house I'm in for whose reading it is. So this is your reading, Scorpio. And then this deck right here is the number deck, and it'll show what house I'm working in. So like this is Aries. Aries governs the first house. So it would be Scorpio's reading, and I'm looking in the connection with Scorpio and Aries. Okay, so the first house is Aries. The second house is Taurus. Third house, Gemini. Fourth house, Cancer. 5, Leo. 6, Virgo. 7, Libra. 8, Scorpio. Okay, so that's your house, Scorpio. Ninth, Sagittarius. 10, Capricorn. 11, Aquarius. And 12 is Pisces. So in this live stream, we're going to go through all the houses to look at your connection with all of the signs. So in this reading, we're looking at how your person of interest will fight for your love and your connection. So this is a general reading, and usually general readings have mutual energy where, for example, when I'm mentioning Scorpio, it could actually be your person of interest and vice versa. But the way this reading is set up is that we're looking at your person of interest energy. So the only time that we'll see mutual energy is when it's a twin flame connection and a soulmate connection. Then that's when I'll typically see the mirroring, the mutual energy. Okay. All right. So, and also general readings are not intended to resonate with everyone. So if this one doesn't resonate, please don't force it. I'll be back to do another as soon as possible. Okay, so getting into it here. Oh, and the other disclaimer is that I do short-term energy readings. Energy changes all the time. So I'm looking at the trajectory as it looks as it stands right now. And I'll come back to do updates. That's the plan. All right, so looking here for Scorpio and Aries connections. Let's see how your person of interest feels about you right now. How they will fight for your love, actually. Fighting for your love. Will Aries fight for Scorpio's love? And if so, how? How will they go about it? Aries and Scorpio. Aries and Scorpio. Aries and Scorpio. Aries and Scorpio. Alright. Aries and Scorpio. So going to the disclaimer of this being a general reading and it's not intended to resonate with everyone, it looks like so far the answer is yes. And it looks like so far for this connection, they don't feel like there is a need to fight for your love. It looks like this connection is comfortable and assured about how you feel about each other. However, if it came to it, the answer is yes, they will fight for your love. Aries will fight for Scorpio's love. Through and through. Through and through. Okay. Also, it suggests that this Scorpio connection, one of the storylines is with you guys that live together. So you may have stuff at their house. They may have stuff at your house if you don't legit, like on paper, live together. But so yes, they will fight for your love. But like I said, this reading looks like at the moment you guys are in a good place. If it came to it though, they will fight for your love. And if they do, it says that if they do feel insecure and that they need to fight for your love, like in the case of a third-party situation, then the highlighted area of concern is to watch out, because heads are likely to roll and anybody can get it. The foundations of the earth will shake. So it could become quite intense and dynamic. But at the moment in this connection, as I continue to say, it looks like there's security here, and the most fighting for each other's love, fighting for your love, is in the facet of romance and foreplay. So there we have it there. So now we'll move to the second house, and this is Taurus's house. All right, so we're looking at your connection with Taurus. Taurus and Scorpio. Taurus and Scorpio. Taurus and Scorpio. All right, off the bat, yes, they will fight for your love. How? Taurus and Scorpio. Taurus and Scorpio. Taurus and Scorpio. Okay, so in this connection, it says that yes, they will fight for your love, especially in the beginning. However, after a while, if they feel like they need to continue fighting for your love, then that would diminish the value in the relationship for them. They'll start to move with one foot in, one foot out. However, it says that they will always have love for you. They just won't continue to show up and fight in the capacity that they would be willing to initially. So let me clarify the Queen of Fire. Okay. So it says initially, they will fight in any way that they need to. Heads could roll initially because they could kind of get out of body and be blinded, and and this is for the connections with the Eight of Swords, that you guys are locked in. So like if you're locked in, the relationship is new, there's soul ties here, there's a commitment in the connection. For an example, you guys could have children together, something to that extent. Initially, it looks like any way that they would show up to fight for you. However, it does also, in my clarifying deck, it confirms that eventually they're just trying to keep the peace, stay away from toxicity in the connection, and they would move away to diminish the conflict. They will always have love for you. So it just pretty much repeated and confirmed what I said, so that I don't have to repeat myself. And that's what I'm looking at for Taurus. The next connection that we'll look at for Scorpio is with Gemini. Gemini and Scorpio. Gemini and Scorpio. Gemini and Scorpio. Off the bat, yes. Gemini and Scorpio. Gemini and Scorpio. Gemini and Scorpio. Gemini and Scorpio. All right. Okay, so similar to what we've seen in Taurus's house, initially they would definitely fight for your love. It looks like there's no boundaries initially at the first time. They could be provoked, get out of body, show up any type of way to fight for your love initially. It looks like eventually, if it persists where they feel like they need to continue fighting for your love, let's take a look here. It looks like we have mixed reactions. Mixed reactions. So initially it looks like they would show up physically, you know, describing what I said, to reiterate what I said initially. Physically, whatever capacity, they could be triggered to respond. It looks like as things progress though, you know, it just more so becomes a mental thing, you know, speaking their mind, more of a communication uh, method. And then these cards in neutral, a neutral orientation, if they continue to need to show up and fight for your love, this too looks like it could get quite unhinged. Okay, and we have this Wheel of Fortune, so that's why I'm seeing a diminished capacity in the way that they would show up more mentally, you know, um, with logic, with communication, because it looks like before getting to that stage and having a Wheel of Fortune, this is a refining embodiment. Going through this again and again and again, they're going to learn and they're going to become more mature, intelligent, refined in the way that they respond. This also, like I said, could be unhinged. So this is a very impactful energy that talks about, I mean, it could be very transformative and even detrimental to um, not just your connection, but you know, making lifelong, taking like actions that are impactful for a lifetime. So it could be very unhinged. And just kind of like a blinding situation to them. So they would learn how to harness their energy and not respond so like responsive and reactionary, but be more intentional and mindful. That's what that looks like. Yeah, they could be unhinged. Could be like an on and off again connection, you know, where sometimes you might be wondering which version of Gemini am I going to get? Is it the version that seems to hate me? You know, the mind games, um, just very toxic and unbalanced. Alright. So the answer is yes, through and through, however. Through and through, the answer is yes. They will show up and they will fight for your love, Scorpio. Now we'll look at your connection with Cancerians. Let's see, Cancer and Scorpio connections. Cancer and Scorpio connections. Cancer, Scorpio, Cancer, Scorpio. Cancer and Scorpio. Cancer and Scorpio connections. Cancer and Scorpio connections. Cancer and Scorpio connections. Okay. So this also suggests, yes, they will fight for your love. Initially, it looks like they would have a delayed response. So they would have a delayed response. They would attempt to manage their impulses. So this particular Cancer looks like one that has emotional intelligence and that has maturity and refinement. So they know themselves pretty well. They know their triggers. So it looks like they would have a delayed response in fighting for your love. It also looks like they're effective in their attempts. So they're very intentional. However, they would fight for your love. It looks like it's effective to bring you closer together. Looks like it would also be passionate, romantic passion. Like they would get you, it would be arousing, intense chemistry. And it does look like, however, if it continues, then they will start to filter their energy towards you and could even potentially start blocking you. And they would become more guarded, but I don't see that they would leave the connection. They would just temper their energy, is what it looks like. And again, reminding me of the disclaimer that these are general readings not intended to resonate with everyone. This is a particular Cancer that embodies emotional maturity and intelligence, etc., everything that I had said about it. So the answer is yes, through and through. They would fight for your love. It would be intentional and very intelligent, romantic and passionate. Okay, so our next connection that we'll look at for Scorpio is a Leo. By the way, I felt like that Cancer reading also had cusp energy with Cancer Leo cusps, especially. Now we are in Leo's house, so let's take a look at your connection with Leo and how they would show up to fight for your love. Scorpio and Leo. 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 All right, Scorpio and Leo. Okay, so in this particular connection, it looks like initially your person would be put off because they're expecting you to be fighting for their love. So it looks like there would be like a role reversal, and they would take it personal. They would take it personal, like Scorpio is supposed to be chasing me. Scorpio is supposed to be fighting for my love. So it looks like there would be a delayed response. And also you might notice that your person is a little more sad, disappointed. And it looks like they might try to get your attention and respond to you in a different way. You know, like their behavior may change. And they're just trying to antagonize you to chase them, antagonize you, you know, to give them attention, is what it looks like. It could come off as, you might interpret it as them being manipulative or playing a game with you, but this is how they would show up to fight for your love. So it looks like as things progress, as your connection progresses, if you survive this stage in your connection, then it looks like they would start to see more value. You know, that would initiate the attraction, heighten the attraction and the passion, and they would see more value in this connection, start to wonder if you are the one, start to see you as being the one, and then it looks like they would want to have some commitment, you know, want to put labels on your connection to have some validation that this connection is raising to a higher level of commitment. And then depending on how that goes, it looks like they would start diminishing their energy out of the connection, because initially, like I said, they like to be chased, they like to have attention put on them, and if they feel like they're always having to fight for your attention, it looks like their energy would diminish. They would start to be colder, and their presence would be less available in the connection. And that's what I see for this particular connection with Scorpio and Leo. Alright, so now we'll look at your connection with Virgo. Scorpio and Virgo. off the bat, it says yes. Yes, they will fight for your love. Virgo and Scorpio. Virgo and Scorpio. Okay, and this Virgo, they like to show their love, fight for your love, romantically, intimately, with quality time. If it persists where they feel like they continue to have to be the one to chase, be the one to prove their love to you, then they get sad. They start to take it personal. They start to feel like heartbroken, taking that personal, like there's something wrong with them. And it looks like after processing that type of embarrassment and that shell-shocking type of emotion of it feeling betrayed, maybe there's somebody else, maybe you're not that into them, then it looks like they become more passionate and inspired to try it again. However, their attempt to try to get your attention might turn into an argument or fight, which it looks like initially that's not their intention, but it could escalate to that capacity. But it looks like through and through the entire time of the connection, they would try to fight for your love. They would try to revamp, improve their method. The answer is yes. I see a yes there for your connection with Virgo. Now, Scorpio, we'll look at your connection with Libras. Okay, let's see. Connection with Libras. Scorpio and Libra. 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 Scorpio. Scorpio and Libra. Scorpio and Libra. Okay. So again, with that disclaimer that this is not intended to resonate with everyone, I need to clarify the Six of Swords because this is an indication that they would perceive some sort of toxicity. So I just want to confirm, verify, get more information about it. Clarifying the Six of Swords. Like Three of Swords. All right. So yeah, I was trying to confirm where the toxicity is coming from. Three of Swords clarifies the Six of Swords. So it looks like initially they would take it personally. They would feel like there's might be somebody else in the connection. It looks like they would be accustomed to being chased also. So when they get the impression that they need to fight for your love, they're thinking that there's probably somebody else or some sort of betrayal. They would likely diminish their energy from the connection for a moment and spend some time contemplating, getting their energy, making sure that they're well composed. It does look like they would come back to fight for your love, and they would come back also with the intention of having a commitment, having established boundaries, you know, wanting to raise the level of commitment is what it looks like too. Because even here, where it looks like there's third-party energy and that your attention may be somewhere else, when they come back, they want to be assured of the nature of your connection, if it's something that they could take serious or not. And this here explains why it's in a neutral orientation, because depending on how things progress, it will determine the orientation of this Lover's card. Okay, so if it progresses and that you are able to establish a commitment, then this Lover card will be in the upright. And if it progresses and they're assessing that there's not going to be a commitment here, then their love diminishes from the connection. So this is the way that for this particular Libra, they would show up to fight for your connection. All right. So next, hey guys, thank you so much for your support on the video and on the channel. I appreciate you so much. Okay, so Scorpio, we're going to move into your next house, and that is going to look at your connection with other Scorpios. Okay, so the way that it's designed is that the Scorpio that's watching, okay, this is your reading, and we're looking at your person of interest. We're going to look at their energy and how they would show up to fight for your connection, how they would fight for your love. With Scorpio and Scorpio connections. Scorpio and Scorpio. Scorpio and Scorpio. Okay. Scorpio and Scorpio. All right. Scorpio and Scorpio. Okay, so what it's letting me know is for this connection, reminding me of that disclaimer that this is a general reading. It won't resonate with everyone. This particular connection, it looks like you rarely have any fights. It looks like you rarely have insecurities. This is a Scorpio connection, so it looks like you guys are pretty compatible. Okay. All right. But it also does say, yes, they would definitely fight for your love. Okay. They would fight for your love. So it will take a while for this connection to figure something is wrong. It would be one of those, are you sure? Like, what? Are you serious? You know, type of responses. Like, are you playing? Are you serious? What's wrong? All right. So once they start to detect and determine that, oh my goodness, it is serious, it looks like they are prepared to meet you anywhere in the spirit, energetically, physically show up, however they need to show up to fight for your love. Okay, so again with the ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, you know, they would show up to fight for your love, however they need to fight for your love. So it also says here that eventually if they feel like they have to continue fighting for your love, it becomes frustrating for them. It comes to a breaking point. So it looks like I don't see their energy leaving your connection. However, it would start to affect them emotionally. It would start to affect their nervous system if they're unable to get to you, if they're unable to resolve the issue, if they're having challenges getting your connection back online, that will start to show up and affect them. Then eventually, if this continues to persist, looks like it would bring them to a breaking point, okay, where the connection would become more volatile on both sides. So it looks like initially your person would show up as a healer, okay, trying to figure out how to nurture and how to heal you. Eventually, though, as I described, they will start to be impacted. And then if it persists to be that way, your connection would become volatile on both sides. Arguments and fights, blocks, breakups to make up. And if it still continues, then it looks like a breakdown of the connection could happen. Okay, so again, this is just answering the question how your person would show up, but there was definite indication that you guys rarely fight and that it looks like there's a high likelihood that you actually don't have a problem. But then to answer your question, the spread produced, it would show the trajectory of the way the connection would go for Scorpio and Scorpio connections. Okay, Scorpio, so now we'll move to your next connection, which is Sagittarius. Hey, you guys. Thank you so much for your comment in the chat. So good to see you. And again, I thank you for your support on the video and on the channel. Okay, so moving to your connection with Sagittarius. Scorpio and Sagittarius. Scorpio and Sagittarius. Scorpio and Sagittarius. Scorpio and Sagittarius. Scorpio, Sagittarius. Scorpio and Sagittarius. Scorpio and Sagittarius. So I don't want to forget that I'm also picking up for some of your connections in the audience. Your person, your Sagittarius, may have some cusp energy, which would be Scorpio, Sagittarius cusp. This is Sagittarius and Scorpio connections. Sagittarius and Scorpio connections. Okay. All right. And so what we're showing here is, and one of the similarities where I could pick up that there is cusp energy is because similar to Scorpio's reading, this connection shows up as one that rarely fights. You guys are on the same page. Your connection is resonating, so you get each other. You know what buttons to push. You know how to calm each other down. Your person feels confident about that in your connection. However, should you hit a bump in the road, if you find yourself resonating with that description of your relationship, but maybe if you've hit a bump right now, to answer the question, here's what we're looking at. So let's see how they would show up. It says that they definitely would show up. Okay, so also similar to the Scorpio reading, they would show up in any capacity needed. We are showing more of a vast array of how they would show up. In the spirit, they would show up. In communications, they would show up. They would learn. They could investigate. They would spy. They might, you know, they could pop off. They could be, it could be very unhinged. They would try to communicate. They have the access to and the knowledge of computers. This particular Sagittarius looks like they're computer and technologies savvy. This is a very enigmatic, well-rounded, jack of all trades type of a Sagittarius. So, but yes, they would meet you to fight for your love however capacity that they need to. And also heads could roll, and also they could become out of body. It could become very unhinged. So if it continues to progress and it becomes toxic to them, they would take a break away from your connection. They would need to salvage their mental, and it would also signify a new chapter in your connection. So if they're unsuccessful to getting to you, to easing into establishing some sort of peace in your connection, then it says that they would exit the connection, and they would think about if they want to return to the connection or not. They would have one foot in, one foot out. And it looks like there's a high likelihood that if and when they come back, if they decide to come back, you make it a different version of that Sagittarius. Alright, so that's what I'm looking at here for Sagittarius and Scorpio connection. So the advice here, there's a couple of like highlighted areas of advice in this connection. It would be like the best bet to salvage your connection would be in the beginning, when you see your person fighting for your love, to meet them halfway, to reciprocate, to respond, to validate. Because after that, they start to move out of the connection, is what that looks like. Okay. All right, and so the next connection that we'll look at for Scorpio is Capricorn. Okay. All right, so for Scorpio and Capricorn, Scorpio and Capricorn. Scorpio and Capricorn. Scorpio and Capricorn. Scorpio and Capricorn. Okay. So this Capricorn may have some cusp energy with Sagittarius. Similarly, this one looks like you rarely fight. You guys are pretty much on the same page. You know yourselves and you know each other pretty well. Okay. All right. But to answer the question, it looks like a spread is starting to produce here. Let's see what it says. All right. Okay, so let's take a look here. Oh, yeah. Okay. So for this connection here, okay, I don't see that their presence ever leaves your connection. So in this trajectory, in this energy reading, I don't see their energy leaving you. I do see that they would need to take a break if things persist. There would be a breakup. There would be some emotional disturbance. There would be some confusion. And so for their own health and for their own well-being, if things persisted, they would look like they would need to exit. But it does look like they would come back. See? They would come back with the intensity. Is what that looks like with the Chariot and the Two of Cups. And then this card here that fell off the table is the Five of Fire. So that's the block. That's the fighting. It came out. It fell off the table, so that puts it into reverse. So that means they would come back vulnerable. They would come back not wanting to fight. They would come back determined to make up after taking this moment of pause. So again, initially, it looked like this particular connection rarely fights, as I had described earlier. So it looks like there would be a delayed response. Again, when they start to realize, wait, something is serious, okay? It looks like a delayed response, and it also looks like when they detect that something is really going on here, it looks like it won't take much for them to start checking out. It won't take much for them to start to be impacted, emotionally disturbed, needing to salvage themselves for their own well-being. It looks like also reminding me of the disclaimer that this is a general reading. It's not intended to resonate with everyone because this particular Capricorn has triggers. So they have something in their past that if you guys were in something, there's a hiccup in your relationship, it looks like they have triggers and hangups that would be activated. Okay, so this right here for me signifies triggers, karmic patterns, repeat, okay, bad memories from the past trigger them, and that is the reason why I'm looking at a quick, dramatic escape and also heavily being impacted. So this also lets me know that this particular connection with Capricorn and Scorpio is like a safe space. Like you are their safe space. You are their haven. So if anything was to go wrong with your connection, it would impact them very dramatically. But like I said, after they get a hold of themselves, they start to miss you and they come back very vulnerable and they want to work things out with you. So yeah, you're their safe space. You are their haven. And no wonder it took a while, indicating that you guys rarely fight, because this is indication that they've already vetted your connection before they committed to you. So this right here looks like a connection that has longevity. You guys have experience. You guys have weathered the storm before. It wasn't easy for you to lock in this connection in the first place. You probably have experienced initial ups and downs and had to work for this connection, had to work for their trust. That's what it looks like. All right, so that's what I'm getting from this connection with Scorpio and Capricorn. All right, Scorpio, next we'll look at your connection with Aquariuses. Hey, you guys, in the chat, thank you for your subscription. Oh, that is awesome. And thank you also for your affirmations in the chat. I appreciate your support on the channel and on the video. Okay, Scorpio and Aquarius. Scorpio and Aquarius. Scorpio and Aquarius. All right. Scorpio and Aquarius. So it looks like your method of them fighting for your love is in romance, in courtship, foreplay, love. So if it's anything else, they would take it personal, is what it looks like. It would break their heart. And you would see, you would know. They wouldn't hide it from you. And they would expect you to chase them. They would expect you to fight for their love. It's not just going to be one way, especially if the way that they had approached it initially looks like a way that they have already done so. In this particular connection, with this being a general reading that won't resonate with everyone, it looks like you have already established a way that they fight for your love. And it's romance, it's passion, it's love. So if that doesn't work this time, and they try that and it doesn't work, they'll be expecting you to come and fight for their love. And they will take it personal. Okay? They might start to feel like inadequate because of the method. Like, it's passion is very vulnerable. So if that wouldn't work, they would take it personal. Like, is something wrong with me? You know? Does Scorpio not find me sexy anymore? You know, and you would notice. They would be vocal about it. Is there somebody else? You know, so, and then if it persists where, for example, you don't chase them, you don't fight for their love, you don't validate them, you don't court them, then it looks like this is a connection that will become unhinged, and in the capacity that it could show up in both of your lives, kind of wreck both of you. Their energy would be very strong, and you will feel it. And it looks like too that there will be trust issues. There will be trust issues and even potential manipulations, you know, stringing you along. Okay, so that's the Seven of Swords and the Knight of Swords. So watch out is what it looks like in that case. And this is the connection that says, you know, your person would need validation. Your person would need confirmations, affirmations. So if your connection were to progress where they need to fight for your love, that looks like a very highlighted area of concern to figure out how to mutually protect each other's energy. Otherwise, the connection could become very unhinged and, like I said, unsettling for both of you in your world. And with the distrust, potential lying and stuff like that. Because interestingly enough, I don't see their energy leaving the connection. So that could be concerning, I would say. It is concerning. All right, so that's what I see there for that particular Aquarius and Scorpio reading. Again, with it not being intended to resonate with everyone, I would like to emphasize, if it does not, please don't force it to fit. I'll be back to do another as soon as possible. Okay, Scorpio, now we're looking at your connection with Pisces. Okay, Scorpio and Pisces. 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 All right. Scorpio and Pisces. Okay. So again, with this being the general reading that does not resonate with everyone, don't force it to fit. This particular reading right here, it does suggest that currently the connection that is going through this right now, I feel that the Mercury retrograde and other planetary placements is affecting your connection, because it looks like there's a disarray of emotions, there's misunderstandings, miscommunications, there's up and downs. Okay, and then not only the retrograde and the planetary positions that's taking place, but your person may have some mental health issues, some unchecked mental health issues. It looks like their energy is all over the place. At one moment they're, healed and they're getting out of this connection, saying they don't need it type energy. Another moment they're depressed, and it's concerning because you might feel like they might do something really crazy. Also, it looks like there could be some financial abuse or, concerns with the finances as well. Um, and then they're feeling betrayed. They could be projecting onto you and accusing you. Okay, they could become delusional, just very much all over the place, in and out, up and down, on and off, uh, distrust, feeling like they're lying to you, manipulating you. So all over the place, very unfocused energy, very unhinged energy is what it looks like. If they feel like they need to fight for your love, they will take it personal. That's what's overall saying. They would take it very, very personal. It would affect them in all types of ways. Their nervous system is wrecked. Their mental is all over the place. So them feeling like they have to fight for your love, it becomes toxic very quick. It's like you might have a, what do they say, real life? Real life? Well, I can't think of it, but stalker, uh, unhinged, great. Whoa, fatal attraction. That's how it goes. Real life fatal attraction. So the highlighted area of concern, if this resonates with Pisces, 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 salvage yourself, save yourself, because this looks like you could lose yourself. Not could, you have lost yourself in this connection. So, that's what it would be like. And Scorpio, watch out, because it looks like you could have a real life fatal attraction situation on your hands. This is definitely not resonating with every Pisces Scorpio connection. Absolutely not. Okay, I'll be back to do another reading as soon as possible. This brings us to the last house, and I'll be back to update the reading. I just want to thank you so much for your support on the video and on the channel, as I continue to say, hey, thank you so much for your commentary here. I'm just going to take a moment to read these. Okay, guys, so I just want to say, hey again. I see that there's like a question right in the chat. It's like a personal question, right? Now, one thing that is missing, and I'm just going to start letting you guys know, because I love to work on these personal readings. it's missing your signs, right? And it's also, this one is framed with a yes or no, but it's missing your signs, right? So that's something that you want to add either now, or you can save that information when we get to the end of the reading, the end of the stream. Because if and when I have time, if I have the energy, then I can work on that. But I would need your signs. Okay? Thank you so much for your affirmations. You said, I appreciate your beautiful reading. Oh, thank you, sweetie pie. I appreciate your love. And that's reciprocated back to you, even with the beautiful titles that you gave me. Thank you. So bring the past lovers back. They're obsessed with me. One Scorpio, divine masculine, supernatural, psychic. And this retrograde is bringing a lot of exes back, right? So I also love when you guys leave comments in the channel comment section, because the Most High sees all of your comments and is able to respond to you and me, to all of us, and answer our prayers, answer our desires, right? Okay. Thank you. Yes, and then so also when you leave your signs, thank you for reminding me. Then I would like to meet you in the house of your sign to work on that personal reading, right? Yeah, and you're a Scorpio, but I don't think you're the one that asked the question. It was somebody else that asked, right? I don't think that they're still here either. But this is something that I'm working up to, because this is a new series that I'm introducing to the channel, right? So I'm still practicing and I'm getting better. Every time I'm getting better with this. So yes, and then I would like to start to, like I said, add your personal questions at the end, especially when I have more energy. And I'm looking forward to having more energy too, because I'm having more interactions with you guys in the chat and more support on the channel in the video. So like when I started, sometimes it would just be a few of us here, like Neon would be here with me. It would just be us sometimes in the chat, but it takes a lot more energy to make it through the houses and stuff. So with your support, I'm getting stronger and I'm getting better. So thank you. So then the other thing is, like, if anybody's interested in a personal reading and you leave your questions in the chat, then when I get to the end and I come back here to get into the comment section, I can see your questions. And what usually happens is that they're no longer here though, right? They didn't stick around. So I won't read for them if they're not here. But there's no guarantee I'll be able to have the energy to do it anyway. So this is something I'm practicing and working up to. Amen. Thank you so much for your positivity. Reciprocated back to you. Everybody, I'll be back as soon as possible, okay? Signing off for now. Until next time, peace.